Hey ladies, welcome back to my channel. It's yours London Lamborghini, back with another video, and today we have a fabulous video from a Gen Z ex-professional giving us all the career tips that you might need to kickstart your career or to just improve and upgrade your career journey. So Envy Barman is a TikTok content creator that gives Gen Z career advice to up-and-coming professionals, but most recently she quit her $300,000 a year tech job to start her own business. So her info will be linked in the description and also on the screen, so go check out her page and her YouTube channel as well. And thanks for watching this video.
Networking cheat codes I swear by to land a job in 30 days. I don't care where you live, change your location to SF or New York on your LinkedIn and resume. That's where all the startup founders are located and looking to hire. Go to networking events catered for founders. That will automatically put you in a room of all potential hiring managers. And if you don't live in those cities, try to fly out for conferences or Tech Week, when there's a high density of events you can go to. In fact, I'm hosting one for New York Tech Week that you can sign up for in my link in bio. At these networking events, hang out in the center of the room. Socially anxious people hang out in the perimeter of the room while the confident people hang out in the center. And since they're already confident social people, watch them start a conversation with you. Always ask for their email when you leave a conversation. They will likely never follow up with you. If you just give them yours, then you won't be in the driver's seat to follow up with them after. And when you follow up, don't follow up with your resume or asking for a job. Instead, come up with one interesting thing from the conversation you had. And now watch them offer to help you themselves.
If you want to land a six-figure job straight out of college, here's what I would recommend. Basically what I did, and it worked out great for me. You don't end up learning a lot in class, so I would optimize my schedule around having the most free time as possible. So I'd first pick the easiest major my university offered. Then I would minor in computer science. This is so that I could take the bare minimum classes to learn how to code. That's because you want to optimize for all your extra time to be studying for interview prep. If you are a computer science major already, try to optimize your course schedule so you're taking data structures and algorithm courses sooner rather than later, because the information in those classes are perfectly transferable to interview prep. Then I would literally spend every waking breathing second on LeetCode. Study all the questions, master them, and be able to do them in your sleep. Any extra time you have, you want to use that to network. So that means landing referrals at big tech companies. Once you get that referral, then completely ace the interview because you practice so much you can literally do in your sleep, you're 100% guaranteed to land a six-figure software engineering job straight out of college. If I could go back in time and tell my younger, anxious, insecure, unaccomplished self, this is what I would tell her. Just decide on something, but do it with full conviction, because the likelihood of you getting it right is almost slim to no chance. Even if it's a random choice, if you do it with 100% energy and give it your best shot, you will be recognized for it. That's because if you're good at something, you get two things: money and clout. Money and clout can buy you optionality, it can buy you time, it can open up doors, things you could have never even imagined for yourself. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I went into big tech. I studied really, really hard. I did like 1,000 interviews. I was almost 100% sure that this is not what I wanted to do, but I just decided it randomly and I gave my 100% self with it. When I quit my job, I not only had financial independence, I had money, but I had clout and a network to go do whatever I wanted after that. It gave me time to explore and figure out what company I wanted to start. And when I was ready to raise money from investors, actually get people's attention on what I was building, I had the clout and network to actually get it done and be successful. So my best advice is just make a random decision, but do it with 110%. You don't have to do anything permanently. You don't have to live in a place permanently. You don't have to do a job permanently, but how well you do it and how well known you are in the space is how likely or how easy it will be for you to eventually go do something else, regardless of if it's relevant or not to what you do today. Finding your passion and figuring out what you want to do takes time, it takes space, it takes a lot of years of practice and understanding of yourself. So the worst thing that could happen is when you decide what you actually want to do, don't have the financial independence, you don't have the clout network to actually get it done and accomplish it. Problematic job hunt hacks to land six-figure jobs. If a job post has been live for 24 hours, you're too late. Job applications in the market today get thousands of applications within the first day. So anything after that will not be looked at because the recruiter will not have any bandwidth.
When you're on LinkedIn, use Chrome extensions like Apollo. This way you can email instead of DMing the recruiter you want a job from. And schedule that email to go on the top of their inbox at 8 a.m. Recruiters get hundreds of DMs an hour, so they're trained to not look at them. An email, however, requires a lot more effort, so it's a good way to stand out. Sign up for virtual job fairs or career conferences, even if you're not planning on going. Because these events are usually sponsored by companies, they feel obligated to look at the resumes and email list that they get from it because they've already invested time and money there. If you're wondering where to find events like this, you can sign up for free in the event I'm hosting in my link in bio. And if you've been applying to jobs for months and not hearing back, it's time for you to take a break. You're burnt out and it's really giving in interviews. You're really not going to be able to hide that energy unless you actually rest and take a break before getting back into it.
Problematic job hunt hacks that have landed me six-figure jobs. Don't label the internships on your resume as internships. Just label it as experience. The job market is so bad right now, people with multiple years of work experience are applying to entry-level jobs. So by rebranding your internship experience as experience, now you'll have multiple years of experience on your resume too. If you get rejected in an interview, that is not a dead end. Email your interviewer if they have any friends who are hiring that they might be open to passing your resume to. Trust me, interviewers feel bad rejecting, plus it's another intro you can get to continue your job search. For every sentence in your response to the ask me about yourself question, ask yourself, am I the only one in the world who could describe myself this way? If for any of your sentences, the answer is no, change it. Competition is so fierce right now, you have to paint yourself as one of a kind just to stand out and get to the next round. Spend more time getting referrals to smaller companies. You probably have a much more likely chance of landing a job there. Teams are also smaller, so there are less hoops to jump through just to get to an interview. Do not put your GPA on your resume. You are just asking to get judged when no one was planning on judging you. I'm looking at you 3.6ers, 3.8ers. I know you think it's good, but it's not worth it. If that was helpful, subscribe to my newsletter in my link in bio for more career hacks delivered straight to your inbox. Problematic job hunt hacks that helped me land my six-figure jobs. If the job posting has been live for more than 24 hours, you're too late. Recruiters are getting thousands of applications right now. Anything after that first 24 hours won't be looked at. Companies are biased towards candidates that live in the same city their office is headquartered in. Change the location on your resume and your LinkedIn to big cities like SF in New York, where there are a lot of companies. It's not lying if you're going to move there after you get hired. If no one will hire you full-time, contract, or freelance, and become invaluable to the company, they will have no choice but to extend a full-time offer to you. The sale is always in the follow-up email. You can use tools like Woodpecker to automate the follow-up to recruiters who have not responded to your email yet. Drop your resume in as many job boards as possible so your resume is floating around to companies even after the job post you applied to has expired. And you can join my job board in my link in bio.
The literal one thing that landed me a six-figure job straight out of college, I'm telling you, this is the literal only thing you need, was internalizing deeply and truly that only reason why I hadn't landed that job yet was because I needed to try a little bit more. Just to land my summer engineering internship at LinkedIn, I did over 50 interviews, and I'm talking about first round interviews because I almost 99% of the time never made to second round interviews, so we're not even going to count those. And I think I applied to around 500 to 1,000 jobs. Like, I literally would do like 10 a day. I would auto apply like a million places. Keep that number in mind in a great economy as an internship, and probably double or triple that for this current economy, and maybe quadruple that if you're looking for a full-time job. The only way that I would figure out how many jobs I need to apply to, how many interviews I need to do before I land that job, was simply by doing it every single day until I got one. It normalized this idea in my head that it was just a number. There was a certain number of jobs I needed to apply to. There was a certain number of interviews I needed to do before I landed that job. I just didn't know what that number was. Now that you know that, internalize it and stop telling yourself you can't do it, but rather that you just need to keep up the energy to get to that secret magic number where you land your job. Yes, it's a lot of hard work. It is. I mean, I'm not saying it was easy. Truly, the hardest part is waking up every single day and still giving it your best shot. But I promise you, it will happen for you. It is impossible to fail if you just deeply understand this. I promise. You got this. The biggest lesson I learned at my time in big tech was there was no way I was building any sort of generational wealth if I stayed there. Growing up in the Bay Area, I watched all my friends' parents basically work in tech and have these giant houses and get their kids whatever they wanted, and I was like, okay, that's the secret of life. Like, I have to work in tech if I want that life for myself. What I didn't realize was there was a very big difference. The parents who were at the kids' soccer game buying them BMWs for Christmas, those were the ones who were early employees at companies or started their own companies. The parents who were not at the soccer games making their kids carpool to school were those who worked at companies because they didn't actually own a significant part of it, where they would have to work every single day until they turned 80. And I got my first big girl job and I got that fat 6-figure salary. I was like, oh, obviously, like, this is good enough. And then literally when I did taxes the first year, 40% went to the government, like 10% went to healthcare, and then the rest of it went to 401k, and I had this like tiny 5-figure salary left by the end of the year that I could use for expenses. And because at that point I was already accustomed to a certain lifestyle, wanted the nice apartment, I wanted to go out for dinners to restaurants, I was basically left with $0. What happens, you basically get trapped in this infinite loop where every year you make a bunch of money and then all the money goes away and then you have to work again the next year to make it all back. This is what people call golden handcuffs. If you want to one day retire and have your money grow in your sleep, you're gonna have to own an asset in a company that's growing. So this could be a company you start, or it could be a company that you have a large portion of equity in, which means you probably joined it early and helped build that company from the beginning. Joining an early company is obviously very risky, plus in order to get a large enough equity into the company, you have to join pretty early, where you're gonna have to work crazy hours. My logic on this entire thing was, if I'm still gonna take that huge risk and I still have to work super hard, why don't I just start my own company and own 100% of it? And I would argue that it's actually less risky because it's my company. I'm in full control of what I do with it and where I take it. Most importantly, I'm doing it at a time in my life where I don't have a home, I don't have kids, I don't have any big financial responsibilities. So the likelihood of me succeeding is probably higher because I'm gonna give myself more room and more time, a real shot at building generational wealth for myself and my kids and my kids' kids. The worst case is that I fail and I go back to my big tech corporate job. That was where I started off anyway, so I think I'll be fine.
If I could go back in time and give myself early career advice, here's what I would tell myself to do. First, I would learn how to code, go get a software engineering internship, and cross that skill off my bucket list as fast as possible. No faster way to do that than 3 months in the summer. Then I would go join a high growth startup as my first job. I would not go join a big tech company. This is because there's no faster way to learn than in the chaos of an early stage startup. Then I would network with all the investors of that startup. Then I would ask them what are the companies they just funded and go join those companies as first or second employees. Or even better, use those connections I made with investors to raise money for my own company, which I'm trying to do right now. I didn't actually do that play, but if I could go back in time and do that, that's the way I would do it, and I think I would be a lot more successful right now, Bill.
Here are all the high maintenance career hacks the girlies are doing so we can live that low maintenance rich girl future. Part 2. Brand yourself as a founder online and on your resume, even if you never plan to start a company. Founders get so much more clout and respect than the average person in corporate. Start something, make it a side hustle, and call yourself an entrepreneur. Recruiters are the worst people to network with. You want to spend time with them to take advice from them, but networking them is not how you're gonna get a job. It's their job to talk to you, so they have no clout with the hiring manager. Instead, network with seniors, VPs, and other people at startups. It's actually impressive when they introduce you to the hiring manager because they had to go out of their way, out of their regular job, to vouch for you. I don't care if you hate this, being a creator is the #1 requirement for getting a job these days. There's like 500 million AI job bots like auto applying to millions of jobs out there. Companies aren't even going through application pools. How many times you post is how many times you're gonna be throwing your application out in the pool. The real career opportunities are gate kept, only have one way to get to you, and it's if they can find you online. So you have to be noticed. You have to do the unsexy thing early in your career so you can have leverage to do the sexy thing later on. I hustled my way to teach myself software engineering. That gives me the clout to manage engineering teams early in my career and go to dinners with other startup founders who are also building billion-dollar tech companies. Career cheat codes I swear by that probably should be illegal. Don't pay for LinkedIn Premium, especially if you're a student. Instead, use LinkedIn to search which LinkedIn employees are trying to get rid of their LinkedIn Premiums. Every LinkedIn employee gets LinkedIn Premiums to give out, and they always have too much on hand. If you're looking for a job, don't cold email employees and recruiters one by one by hand. Use sales tools like Apollo.io or Woodpecker to optimize your campaigns and to do this in large quantities. This is another numbers game. There are hundreds of newsletters that deliver the newest jobs straight to your inbox. Why do the work of finding these jobs yourself? Just sign up for these newsletters. If you're interested in joining my newsletter where I handpick jobs, drop your email below. Thank you notes go a long way, but they're most effective after a final round interview. Be surprised how many applicants are prioritized because of it. The last cheat code is arguably the most underrated one. You've been applying to jobs for a month and hearing nothing in return. Take a break. You're burnt out and you're tired and it's giving in interviews. Not going to be able to hide that energy unless you genuinely go and take a little break. Follow for more. Career cheat codes I swear by to get ahead in your career. Job hopping is the easiest way to get paid more. Pulling off a salary negotiation is much harder. Money is much better spent buying freedom of time to upskill and advance in your career rather than materialistic things like clothes or makeup. And when your hourly pay is more than the cost of the convenience you paid for, like a DoorDash delivery, you're actually making money with your time. Working at a startup is an easy hack to transition into a new role. There's so much chaos at a startup, you can just sneak on over to the role and the work that you actually want to be doing and reframe your resume. Never say that I'm looking to make X amount of money in an interview. Instead, say I'm currently interviewing for offers at X amount. Spend as much time talking about the work you're doing as doing the work itself. That's how you get promoted. Unless you're building your own company, always have a side hustle. If you let your 9-to-5 define you, you'll get burnt out very quickly. Being the first one in and last one out the office is a great way to be taken advantage of. Work smart, not hard.
Working at companies like Google is not what people think. People think that they're gonna go work at these companies and work on the next YouTube. But the reality is you're one of thousands of employees and you're barely even going to change a feature in like 6 months. On the other hand, working for small companies, you have a really big role to play. You are constantly gonna be challenged and be given new opportunities to learn new things and move the company forward.
So once I learned this about corporate America, it changed my life forever. If you work 40 hours in big tech, corporate law, consulting, these kinds of jobs, you definitely will be able to get nice things, have a nice apartment, be able to eat at restaurants, things like that. But you aren't likely to achieve financial freedom until 40 years of working that job. So when you're like 60 and ready to retire, yeah, you'll have $1 million in your bank account in savings, but you're gonna have to be faced with the terrifying question of, was this even worth it? And unfortunately, you didn't really set up your family for success because now your kids and your kids' kids are also going to have to slog 40-hour corporate jobs for 40 years in order to similarly be able to retire with enough savings. This quote by Naval lives in my head rent-free because he talks about how valuing your time in exchange for money is the worst way to achieve financial freedom. You have to be an owner. You have to make money with your money. And the problem with that is for young people like us, how are we supposed to make money with our money if we have no money at all to begin with? But that is not actually true. You can join startups early in your career and own large equity in young companies. You can become a scout for venture funds and all you have to do is network with founders, and if you bring them a deal that they want to invest in, also get equity in that company without putting a dollar of your own. I'm running my own scout program. You can find it in my link in bio if you want to apply. You don't need any prior experience. You just have to have willingness to go meet founders and network. And obviously the hardest way to build accrued value over time and truly own something that is growing is start your own company. So yes, still work that 40-hour corporate job to sustain your life, but ask yourself, how are you going to be an owner in other parts of your life too? You cannot and you will never get rich off a salary. I know what you're thinking right now. Hey, if I can make a high 6-figure salary, I have a ton of disposable income, and so I can use the extra money to invest in stock and invest in other assets and build my wealth that way. I hate to break it to you, but you're playing the luck game, and if you want to leave your entire livelihood and your future wealth up to luck, be my guest. But there's a much better way to guarantee that financial wealth in the future and to guarantee leverage in any room that you walk into, and it's simply just building a really strong personal brand. For example, if you have a strong personal brand, you can advise startups and you can have equity in companies without actually investing any of your own money. If you have a strong personal brand, you'll never be on the job market. You'll never have to apply to a job. The jobs that are going to come your way are going to come in your emails, come in your DMs. If you have a personal brand, you literally never have to worry about getting laid off because you always have passive income coming in, whether it's through
through brand deals, whether it's through affiliate, starting your own side hustle, or like having clients on the side or freelancing, like you will always have a stream of income that's coming in simply by the fact that your name is out there. It's the strongest asset you can have in your portfolio. And the best part about this is, unlike a 9-to-5 job where you transact time for money, your brand, your audience is something you get to keep for the rest of your life. Only builds value over time. No minute of that is wasted. But if you pour your whole heart and soul into a project at work and it never gets shipped, you get laid off, like turns out it doesn't matter anymore.
This is the one thing I did before I turned 24 that gave me a 6-figure net worth. When I was graduating college, I had final offers at Google, Amazon, Meta, like basically every top big tech company. And trust me, I was dying to work at these companies. I mean, these are some of the most well-known tech companies. Landing one of these roles would have given me so much social validation and clout, not just with my family, but with my friends too. But what I did next will shock you. I ended up canceling all those interviews and went and joined this other billion-dollar tech company called Atlassian that not many people knew about at the time, and it was definitely not considered one of the sexy companies to work for. Because less people knew of it and because it was less hype, the stock value was much lower than the Google and Amazons of the world. And because the stock price was so low when I joined, a year into working at the company, the stock price quadrupled. So all the stock I was given upon joining the company literally 4x'd in value. And then I sold it, giving me a 6-figure net worth by the time I turned 24, ultimately giving me the space and financial freedom to quit my job and start my own company. So yeah, my best advice for you is don't chase the sexy brand name companies. Chase public companies whose stock value is super undervalued so that when you work there, the price goes up and the real money you make at that company comes through your stock portfolio and not through your salary. I bet no one has told you this, but you don't need a huge following to make 6 figures as a creator. And literal evidence of this, go look at my following and see how little I have. Because of this one philosophy I learned really early on in my journey. It's called the 1,000 True Fans Theory by Kevin Kelly. The concept is that you don't need 1 million followers to get 6 figures. You just need 1,000 true fans who feel loyal enough to you that they'd be willing to give you $100, which is really not a lot. I do this by having a newsletter where I talk about the honest truth about being an entrepreneur and getting big tech jobs. Spend time sourcing exclusive jobs and opportunities for people in my community and sending them out via email. It's all for free, by the way. And I spend hours responding to every single DM I get with personalized advice and build real connections and friendships with the people who follow me. I'm even starting a YouTube channel next month because I realistically can't scale this as I grow. But I know that if someone spends an hour watching my content on YouTube, they're likely to become a true fan. Something a 30-second viral video could never do.
Thank you so much for staying until the end of the video. And let me know in the comments, are you currently in the tech industry? Are you looking to break into the tech industry? Or what industry are you currently working in? Or are you unemployed like me? I am currently unemployed and I'm looking to gain entry into the tech industry very, very soon. And I'm very, very grateful that I have the privilege to do so. So let me know what you think. And don't forget to check out Envy on all her socials that are linked in the description. And thank you again to all of my subscribers. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. And if you haven't subscribed, go subscribe. It costs you $0, 0 cents, £0, or whatever country you're watching this from. And thank you so much.